Welcome to Premium Cash Flow Real Estate Investing Podcast with Sakar Cowley. During this program, you will hear guest experts sharing their experiences, best practices, and market insights. We discuss investing in multifamily apartment complexes and how a busy professional can passively invest hassle-free in various opportunities. Your host, Sakar Cowley, owns millions of dollars of assets and has done thousands of value-add projects over 20 years now. So listen in for insights. Here's your host, Sakar Cowley.
Welcome to another edition of Premium Cash Flow Podcast. Today I have the rock star of investments. Welcome, Vinnie. I really appreciate
you. Thank you so much. It's nice to have you. Yeah, invite me there. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time today. So Today I have Vinnie Chopra, and Vinnie, as a lot of investors and our listeners know, that he controls, well over 3,500 units, a portfolio touching 225 million. And he owns 5 companies. He's the founder and CEO of Monil Investment Group. And amongst the other companies, he obviously has, the acquisition side, the management side, and he's got the whole gamut figured out. So, Vinnie, just tell our listeners, like a little bit about yourself and, how you got where you are.
Oh, sure. My pleasure. I grew up in New Delhi, India. I always wanted to be an engineer, became engineer, mechanical engineer, worked for Larsen & Toubro. Then I resigned. I really wanted to come to USA. My uncle is actually to be thanked right there in Maryland, where you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Gettysburg, Maryland. I went to George Washington University right there. Did my MBA in marketing, and I was selling Bible books and encyclopedias door to door to raise money, to earn money for my tuition. And lo and behold, I just found out I am more cut out to be outside rather than sitting in a desk, things like that.
Right.
So that's what really changed my career. And I put the engineering in a box, and I became a promotional consultant, motivational speaker, became a broker in 2004, 15 years back. And we were buying homes, by the way, single family homes, rental homes all over USA, in Georgia, in Arizona, in California. I think we bought some in Phoenix. That's Arizona, a couple of other states. But then we thought, what should we do? We wanted to scale up bigger. Sure. And that's when I was introduced, the name, multifamily. And I didn't know anything about IRR or COC or LOI, nothing at all,
So, Vinnie, if you don't mind me asking, what year you got into multifamily? What year was your first deal?
I would say I learned the tricks of the trade for a couple of years. I bought for $300 some program on eBay at that time. And then consequently, I spent thousands of dollars to go and get taught and got the personal coaching done and all. And a lot of, people like to look for free stuff. I think it's so important that what I'm doing today, it's because I invested $30,000. Sure. And that is the real truth. I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't have done so well in raising money and all the things, the systems I developed and all that. So it was right about 12 years back, when I got into it. It was a slow going, because when you have a partner and you don't have not just on the same wavelength,
sure.
Your whole growth of the company is very, very small. And I teach my students now, never, ever, ever form a full partnership at all. Absolutely. You should make your own LLC and let them make their own LLC. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting. It's as they say, the slowest snail controls the pace of the entire ship.
Yeah.
So, Vinnie, which markets do you invest? Or, I guess the allied question would be how do you go about, looking at the data that comes out and you make out of it and say that, hey, these might be the few markets. I mean, obviously, you probably know these things like a back of your hand now.
Oh, well, I do.
But like you're probably still watching those nuances in terms of, okay, hey, this is shifting, or the yield curves are changing now, so your prefs have to change and things like that. So how you like start to make sense out of this data and how you select your markets?
Totally. I would kind of take back again when we started business. A country was going into recession and nobody was giving monies and all that. 2007, I'm talking.
Oh yeah.
And we were looking for, okay, where should we go? We didn't want to move from San Francisco, where we live. You see in the background.
Sure, I see that.
Here. The good part is that we went over the data and see where the unemployment was the least. Those data gave us some clue to go to Texas, to Odessa, Texas, out of anywhere, but Midland, Texas. That was the place we started. We started cutting teeth, and I bought my first asset, 14 units, second one with my team, of course, and partner, 109 units and 101 storage units on one lot, and that was for 2.4 million. We sold it for 5 million 5 years later, so we doubled the money. No, more than that, actually. We gave 43.3% return to our investors with cash flow and equity gain.
I see. And then in that, Vinnie, how many investors you had? Like
At
what
that
was your
time,
purchase price?
we had 13 investors only that brought in. We put the level, that was our first syndication. We started with 65,000 minimum, but by the end of the closing, we were trying to push everybody to 100, 125, and most of the people went up to 100. After that, we never went down less than 100. And that has been my real success, because now I have investors who are putting like 500,000, 700,000,
wow,
300,000.
Absolutely. Great. And speaking about these deals, Vinnie, how you go about like analyzing these deals? Like, do you do in-house analysis, or is there any like cap rate barometer you go by for these deals?
Oh, totally. No, I have several, team members. I do. See, it's a matter of millions of dollars of things that you're getting on loans. So I don't really believe in getting VAs. A lot of people teach that. I don't believe in that, because VAs can mess up.
Underwriting, I mean, analysis is at the core of all of this.
Core of everything, exactly.
That just cannot be outsourced.
Exactly, and the thing is, you got to look at every number again and again and again, have conservative timeline. Of course, they were heydays when I bought 16% COC, 18% COCs. Those are gone. Cash and cash are gone. Now we are looking at 9% COC. Cash and cash. Cap rate doesn't have too much meaning in my thinking. I believe in only cash on cash and the DCR ratios, and also the emerging market. I've been doing well. I just sold one property, doubled my money for my investors, 26.6% I gave per year, and because of the emerging market. Then I'm just doing right now a deal where we have increased in value by 5 million in just 20 months. So I have that knack of looking at data. You're right. Demographics data, job reports, unemployment reports, and of course how much production, new product is coming in, absorption we call it. And then also we look at I like to shake hands with the mayor of the cities where I buy, and also Chamber of Commerce, so that they could give me a real clear picture what's going to happen. And again, as everybody knows, if new businesses are coming in town, motels are opening up, or restaurants are opening up, it means they've done a lot of research. Walmart is coming in, whatever, path of progress, things like that.
Right. So you look for all the progress signs, and you do. It sounds like you're doing a lot of upfront relationship building as well into the community or the business.
Huge. I'm just to give you an idea, the offer I
just put today, the phone, right?
Yesterday, I put an offer on $35 million asset, and I got it. I texted my broker circuit, 16 texts went out. I got up at 4:30. Yes, not this week. Yesterday is Monday. Last Monday morning,
Sure.
I said, I got to buy. When you have energy and everything. And I gave the same text message to 16 brokers, texted. I do a lot of texts.
Sure.
Hey, Vinnie's coming to town. Do you have anything in the pipeline? Or Vinnie's got $10 million. We want to deploy right away. Quickly. Do you have anything in the pipeline? I got 6 leads from that. Right. And actually one of the lead was so good. My asset manager was shopping the property in the Houston area within 1 hour. So I got the lead. She got in the car. She was flying out that day to go to Disneyland with her kids, but she shopped the property. She took 40 pictures and sent it to me. So within 2 hours, we had so much information on that asset.
That's power. That's absolutely powerful. And Vinnie, so you have in these different sub-markets, I assume you have these, I guess, buyer agents, for lack of a better word. So they're obviously not your staff, but some realtors or some...
I'm glad you said the word buyer agents. I never, ever have buyer agents.
Okay.
In the last 20 years, I decided on, I'm a broker in California. Sure. I could have gotten 200,000, 300,000 each deal, but I never took it because I like to give my commissions, my portions to the listing broker. Sure. So some of the buyer brokers started giving me some properties early on, 10 years back. I'll just call them back. I said, I don't want to waste your time at all. I'm so sorry because I do not deal with buyer brokers. Sure. And I kept true with that. That gave me so many great deals from the listing broker. The reason is listing broker knows the temperature of the seller. Nobody knows better than what they are talking, and that's what I want me to come right next to the listing broker. He becomes my broker also. So he's got dual fiduciary responsibility.
I get that. And also then, Vinnie, so this folks that you are, getting assistance from, are they your staff or they're like...
My team, 67 full-time. We have team members, 67.
Okay, and so in other words, you're saying...
my asset managers, my accounting department, my payroll, all that, my leaders, community managers, senior community, because we manage all our assets, right?
Makes sense.
We have 4 team members, I never say employees, and we give bonuses every 6 months. We have full medical benefit, everything. So this is my brand new company. I'm 100% in charge of Monil Investment Group and Management Group. My wife and I own it, and we have 67 full-time people.
Very nice, very nice. And I think you said that correct, Vinnie, because we manage our own portfolio as well. And I think there's something to be said about, having operations in-house, doing the right thing, and, offering your, team members, as you say, like all the benefits. And, there's just so much value and so much power that I totally agree with you on that point, and those are the very reasons we do our property management in-house as well.
That's awesome.
In fact, I guess multiple of my staff members actually live in some of our properties.
Ours do too. Yes, ours do. We give 50% off, 40 or 50 for the first top leader. Is the community manager, senior community manager. Then the next employee, if they want to stay at the community, we call Monil communities, Monil premium communities. And then we always say residents, no tenants, all residents. Right. And then we bring cafes and media centers and dog parks and all that good stuff. But then they get 30% like that. We love to have some staff live at the property. That's a good thing. But the biggest thing is the camaraderie, the culture. I was just sharing that with Paul Moore, with the How to Lose Money show just before this. And they were asking, they said, Vinnie, how do you really keep people, management? It's the culture. It's the culture. We train all the teams. They all have webcams, the best of the best computers I buy for them. And then when we do all the properties, everybody's there. We could see how they dress up, everything. The program I use is apartments.com, where we can listen to all the recordings of every phone call on the back end. That's the
interesting.
best thing ever. It's a
Mhm.
learning and teaching situations where we can teach our, leasing agents, assistant managers, all
Mhm.
how long it took to answer the call, what
Mhm.
they talked, what they didn't talk, and all that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
we do training every Monday
Okay.
for 45 minutes, and
Mhm.
every Friday we just started doing it. It's been amazing because the best team members are brought to do the training for other members,
Mhm. Mhm.
because peer groups and competition is always good. Yeah.
Sure, sure. And in your strategy, Vinny, would you say that you look for stabilized assets
Yes.
and look to do maybe light value add and try to do the raise the NOI? Is that
Yes.
kind of how your strategy plays out?
Exactly. Yes, it has been, because I've done heavy lifting on some, but the thing is I like to have assets 65, 75, mostly 80% or 90% and above occupancy,
Hmm.
which they're stabilized already. Several of the assets I bought where the seller had already injected 2.7 million, 2.6 million, 2
Hmm.
point some million, so that I don't have to do the work. The
Okay.
offer I made this morning, 35 million, that they put 3 million into it already. They've done a lot
Okay.
of heavy lifting
So there
already.
was a lot of capex done already upfront.
Already, yes,
Okay. Okay.
exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly. So I
And
do like value plays, momentum plays, we call it, right? They're
okay,
momentum
sure.
plays
Hmm.
that my investors can get cash flow day one,
Sure,
right
sure.
from the first
Hmm.
quarter. Yeah.
And then speaking of that value add, Vinny, what elements do you address first? Like, whether it's the parking,
Mhm.
the signage
Oh,
or, exterior
oh,
of buildings,
several
like,
things. Several things.
uh-huh.
First of all, we always are analyzing assets which are mismanaged, kind of
Mhm.
thing. So there is loss of lease is quite a bit high from
Sure.
the market rent to the people who are already living.
Hmm.
The RUP system is another one we hit right away to
Sure.
value add.
Mhm.
We like to bring media centers. We give so much and so much. We change a lot of residence centers, also leasing offices, new flooring, new furniture, new everything, new wall coverings, so that
Mhm.
it looks really attractive and the residents feel, oh my gosh, the new owner is not a slumlord.
Sure.
They're going to
Mhm.
be putting money. If the swimming pool, chairs, umbrellas, new signs, I buy these flags. They're amazing flags from Georgia or Florida, and they're $700 for each pole, $700,
Okay.
but they
Mhm.
are 35 feet tall,
Wow.
and they make a statement. I put
Creates,
four
oh
of
yeah,
them.
instant statement driving up, right?
Exactly. Curb appeal is big, signage is very big. I change all the properties I buy. We change it to villas. I grew up in India. Villas was something which I always liked the word.
It
So we
feels
convert
luxury.
all yeah, exactly. So we always change the names. LLC names are formed before even the product is bought.
Sure.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
that's how we do it, in villas and all. Now I started in Georgia putting villas in the front. In Texas, we have put villas in the back. Then we are going to North Carolina, South Carolina, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa. We are kind of, having a lot of different properties. We are looking in different markets. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. So when you look at these properties, Vinny,
Mhm.
and let's say you're looking at a pro forma from the broker,
Mhm.
how do you spot inaccuracies, like whether it's staffing,
Mhm.
for example, extra payroll, or hey,
Mhm.
someone is spending too much money on, let's say, utilities and things like that. Are there any telltale signs that you typically look for when you're analyzing these?
Totally, totally, definitely. As a matter of fact, we've been analyzing quite a few deals. Maybe we have done in the last 3 weeks, 50,
Wow.
analyzing 50 to
Mhm.
60 deals, I think. And the good part is that, see, you got to always look at the rent roll.
Mhm.
Rent roll is the number one thing,
Sure.
because they can lie about a lot of things, but you
Mhm.
got to see the rent roll where they are. First of all, you want to also go to apartments.com, because if the property is put over there, you will find out the square footage and everything and what's the current rents.
Sure.
The other part is now jiving the P&L with the rent roll.
Mhm.
So many times it's horrendous how you will find brokers sending you Excel worksheets. Now,
Okay. Mhm.
anybody could change any cell of the Excel.
Correct.
So I despise that fully. I really
Mhm.
do despise that. And not only that, if you look through all these expenses, like 3 or 4 of them never put taxes in there.
Ooh,
And they never
big
put
one.
tax. They missed the whole thing. Taxes, totally
Sure.
missed it. And
Yep.
insurance, which are the
Okay.
2 big things,
Big ones.
they
Yep.
missed it.
Absolutely.
If somebody would really not look into that, they look at the total NOI and they say, oh my gosh. And they never say NOI. They say net income. And that even some people look at it. They say, oh my gosh, it's after mortgage and everything. They're making so much money. So one has to be so shrewd, line by line item, look through it. And that's what we do. We go through, not only that, you have to look for 13-month. Some people give you 13-month, performa numbers or even actual numbers, because 1 month and then 12 month and they total up everything in Excel. Sometimes people don't understand that. They look at the total numbers as 12 months, but it's 13 months. So you have to be very, very careful. I like to actually bring extra worksheets, columns and everything, and then do our own studies. Then we look at also the ups and downs in particular categories. Sometimes they may throw in plus some number in a category, and that throws off all the negative in that month to positive. So you have to really, really, really keep that in mind that, there are a lot of people out there, they might even take out the management. It happened so many times. Like we are saying 3%, 3.5%, 4% management fee. In their column, it's 0, totally 0.
Oof.
Oh, we manage ourselves. Oh, okay, you do manage yourself, but NOI is not going to look at you.
Absolutely.
They're going to look at who's the new operator. The bank is not going to say, oh, you manage it yourself, didn't get paid, sorry.
And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and the payroll, like you said about payroll. A lot of the payroll I find kind of inflated, I think. Sometimes I see 1,500 per unit, 1,400 per unit, because we go by per unit average,
Sure.
If we have properties like in the Houston area, we know what we are paying because of the salaries and bonuses and all that stuff, and our other FICA and all that stuff. But the thing is, you got to look at what you will be able to operate at.
Exactly. And that was actually my follow-up question there, Vinnie. Like, how much do you allocate to your management company? Like, is it more geographically based, or is it saying that, hey, this property can take this much of maintenance and this is how much we're going to allocate for our management expenses? How do you go about that?
Good point. Very good point. See, when you say management expenses, it's 2 different things. One thing is like repair and maintenance, which is by the 2 people usually at the property, sometimes 3. And that's the lead maintenance, who is the HVAC certified, plus a porter who is helping that, HVAC
all the cleaning
supervisor. Yeah. And then 1 leasing agent, and then 1 community manager, we call it. So 4 people, plus a make ready. We contract it out sometime. Sometimes we get it, our own part-time person who does it. But the thing is, you got to look at 4 or 5 things which you cannot change. The usage of utilities.
Sure.
You've got to look at what this property is spending. That is the number. You got to take that number. If you educate the residents while you take over the property management of it, you might reduce that number a little bit. If you change the toilets and water saver and all that, right?
Sure.
The other thing, so water, trash, gas, electricity, you can change. Contract service, many of those are follow-through contracts. You got to take them over. CoinMac, other ones, pool supplies, all that stuff. Then you look at taxes. That's a
big one.
Big one. I mean, they are paying tax at their old basis. We are buying at new basis. Yeah, so that's a huge one. Insurance. I've seen where they put down so little insurance because it was a portfolio insurance for them.
Correct.
They might own a lot of properties, but that one, if we are doing only 1, we may double that insurance.
Sure, your numbers are going to greatly
much higher. Right. Marketing is another one. Administrative is another one. Now, property management, because we manage our own assets, we sign a contract between the LLC that the property is in with my management company, Monil Management Group.
Okay.
I sign at both the places because I'm the managing
Sure.
manager, and then now.
Mhm.
But we charge 3.5% for over 260, 270 units. We
Mhm.
charge 4% usually all the way to 250 units, and
Mhm.
then we charge 6% for anything less than 120. So 120 or 100, we charge 6%. And,
Sure.
it's a good thing because we are on top of everything. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, to be truthful.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
money we make so many thousands of
Correct.
dollars, millions of dollars in acquisition fees and all that, and
Correct.
share of our portions. So the acquisition side is very more less time and more money. But on the management side, we got to really do right because we save a lot of contractors, preferred vendors, all that. I negotiate a lot of things. We've saved millions, I think, in the last 20 years because you're taking 3 bids. You're looking for the frugality. I teach my, my team and all that. They
Mhm.
got to really ask for 10, 15, 20%
Mhm.
discount. Hey, I know, my owner, and I always say that, I say, hey, it's not in the budget. It's a little bit more than what you're saying. And if they can do it, win-win situation, it's great.
Sure.
If we
Sure.
can't, they will tell me the bare minimum. Then I will know that they went to the lowest point. But
Sure.
also the quality is important. But
Mhm.
management travel and all that, we don't do that much travel. We manage all like this through Zoom meetings and all.
Sure. Mhm.
So all the expenses are covered by the each property. We do it that way. If there is a general expense, we do it by the units, total number of units, so we divide that up into the units.
Sure. And speaking of then syndications, there, Vinny, how do you structure your deals? Or like over time, maybe, like when you first started, first couple of years, your deal structure, and as to how you structure your syndications now, has that changed? Or how can you maybe give us an overview of
Yeah,
how that?
sure. I would love to. Love to. What has happened is when we started out, the very first deal, we gave 70-30, by the
Okay.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted to be sure that we give the best to our our new
Sure.
investors and
Mm-hmm.
all. After that, we started getting great deals. We
Mm-hmm.
started 60-40 structure,
65. Okay.
65-35 structure. But now I'm finding, even though I bought some, I didn't buy in 2018, I'm buying now. And I bought quite a bit in 2017 and 16 and 15. So what we did was we did 12 actually syndications in
Mm-hmm.
just last three years. Actually, I did 10 in just 2 years. Every
Wow.
second month I was doing it,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, you got to look at what will really make it good for the investors.
Right.
You
Right.
got to look at
I think the
investors.
economics and the whole deal structure has to work
Exactly.
out.
So
Right?
now we are giving 80% even first year to the
Mhm.
investors, cash flow only keeping 20, but
Okay.
then we can change it. In my underwriting, we can change each year. We can
Okay.
change each year with occupancies, delinquencies, concessions, loss of lease numbers, RUP system. So I've designed very, very extensive tables, which makes it happen very quickly, just like this.
I see. So you're basically saying that, I guess in other words, it's kind of interesting that I think if I'm extrapolating as to what you're saying, it sounds like you're saying that your structure is nimble enough that you can change it and not get stuck. Like, so for example, let's say, your deal is in North Carolina, or let's say South Carolina.
Yes.
Big hurricane comes in.
Yes.
Your structure apparently is not like rigid. So based on certain, let's say occupancy drops and things like that, you can change it. Am I maybe, I guess, reading this correctly?
Okay, no, you're so right. See, what happens is that we take the most insurance. Let me explain that way. I got hit because I had 10 properties in the Harvey, and
Okay.
I got hurt only like one property quite a bit.
Mhm.
But then Other ones, I got money from the Harvey people, my insurance and
Sure,
everything.
sure.
We were able to build 11 brand new apartments and all that stuff. And then roof leaks, we got brand new roof and all that stuff.
Sure,
But we like to keep the highest level of, our insurances, first of all.
sure.
It's windstorm, it's hail damage, it's flooding. We are flood on every now, even though Houston, it happened once in 800 years, but we're very precautious. And cyber insurance, that insurance, director's insurance. I have every gamut under the earth. I've taken it. My key man insurance, if I die tomorrow, my investors will be well taken care of because my wife will be able to get so much money, millions of dollars, to hire some CEO to run the operation and things like that. So answering your question, yes, you got to mitigate risks because you are on the loan and then your investors' money is tied in there. You have to have power to make sure that, the structures are solid, foundation is solid and all that, right? And then insurance should take care of the loss of rents too, by the way. I know you mentioned it. So we make sure 1.5 times of the annual rents are covered. So in other words, if we have 2 buildings we have to vacate and we have no occupancy left, then we get paid by the insurance company for that loss.
I see. And which are the ways you were saying earlier that you were earlier referring that your structure sometimes is nimble, that you can pay, let's say 80-20, but that can be changed on certain metrics to flip over to, let's say 70-30. Like, can you maybe delve into those scenarios as to how you go by that?
Oh, I would love to. See, the thing is, when we are underwriting, a lot of people do it only like one place, which is right now, current situation, or what will happen in 6 months or so, like that, right? I look at 5-year, 7-year, 10-year period. And then in most of the worksheets, I think the formulas, how other people have given them, it's that you got to just stay with the same percentage assumption. If you assume 60-40 or 70-30, it does all 7 years the same. In my worksheet, you can change them. You could change them by each year. That's the best part. And then that was the split, right? We could do that changing. But also I ingrained into, I'm an engineer. So number wise, I'm really good. So I put another table and interlink them together so that now my projections get also changed simultaneously like this by changing the vacancy by each year. I could do that way. Delinquency, loss of lease, all these numbers, RUP system, all that.
So wow, I would love to see an example of that working actually, Vinnie.
Yeah. My academy students get it for free, which is, it cost me a lot of money to do it. Actually,
right. I'm sure you developed that system over many years now. Actually,
yeah, it did. Very and nice. Not only that, now we are crushing it. My daughter designed, because she's fully immersed now also in our business. We used to have these Monday morning reports all over the place, like 7 different reports. And my daughter came in last year. She says, "Oh my gosh, this is something." She combined everything in Google Sheets. So we have Google Sheets now, beautiful tabs at the bottom. Everything on the property is right there. And the best thing is that it's in real time. I love that. When they are changing at the property, she gets updated, I get updated, asset manager gets updated, accounting gets updated, right there.
Absolutely.
So we are so happy about the whole system. And then we use, the rent manager system, which is very cheap and good. I love them. $50, $75 per license, as compared to RealPage or others. I don't want to push them down, but they charge $15,000, $16,000 a year, and I pay only $1,200 a year.
So that's the rent manager system?
Rent manager. Beautiful program. Appfolio, I think, is another one I heard. But Rent Manager, we have been very pleased. It integrates the accounting, the balance sheets, the financials, the rents, the units, residents, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's very beautiful system. Very easy to use.
Right, right. Nice, nice. And so, Vinny, speaking of these sub-markets, right?
Yes.
Like, how do you like go about these? Like, are you liking Midwest or you liking Southeast or,
Okay.
let's say like Texas of the world? Like,
Love
how do
to.
you make
Yeah,
sense?
love to. In my coaching classes now, which
Mhm.
I do every week personally, I don't let my students coach. And we have done 23 markets right now. We are approaching.
Wow.
23 of them. And I
Mhm.
gave assignment to my students in one, like I do every Wednesday meeting with them. So I
Mhm.
said in 1 week, everybody take one or two markets, and you
Analyze
got
them.
to get all the results you can find. Job
Mhm.
report, demographics, job, and all these different things. And they drop them in the Dropbox, which we have business Dropbox. And then everybody got that in 1 week. Every single person,
Nice.
months of work went into that. So that's where we are. And they are not any hidden markets. A lot of people know about them.
Sure, sure.
I mean, you go to, Columbus, Cincinnati, go to Louisville, go to Lexington, go to Chattanooga, go to Indiana. I like all these places there, North Carolina, South Carolina. I mean, everybody knows
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Florida,
Mhm.
Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville. I mean, everybody's in the same place,
Sure,
you
sure.
know. Yeah.
Interesting. And speaking of off-market deals, Vinny, how do you go about sourcing them? Are there any like techniques you use or like different softwares and things like that? How do you
Okay,
go about
good point. Good point. I've been just lucky in the sense that I have built great relationships with brokers.
it? Okay.
And brokers, when they find out that, Winnie's a performer or anybody who's a
Mhm.
performer, they will give them the first, jabs because they know that somebody's not going to just waste my time. So that's why I teach my students also to have constant contact and build relationships with not the top people in the brokerage, but
Mhm.
build with the people at the bottom
Sure.
because they are doing the grunt work.
All
The
the
top
legwork they are
people are
doing
just
first.
writing their name on it, really. So
Right, right.
associates and things like that. And then talk to them every 10 days. Every 10 days, you
Okay.
got to text them, call them, email them, send them articles, send them gift. I mean,
Sure.
and then when they give you a deal, you analyze or do something and give proper feedback,
Sure, sure.
you
Interesting.
know? So,
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Vinny. And also, Vinny, now, like with the scale of business that you have,
yes.
just shifting gears here a little bit, how are you managing all this? Like, are there any virtual assistants your business uses for different aspects, or it's all staffed centrally for you? Like, how do you go about management of
Good point. Good point. Very good point. I'm so glad. I learned a big lesson when I got 6 people in my previous business.
that? Uh-huh.
Uh, and we said, oh my gosh, we're going to become so big and this and that. Never happened. And then we even took them for training, boot camps, and all
Uh-huh.
that. They fizzled out. I spent so
Oh.
much money. But then only 2 people were left, my partner and I. We
Mhm.
had the common goals. We went through ups and downs, rejections, whatever, whatever. So that taught me a lesson to be lean and mean. I call it, lean
Sure.
and mean
Mhm.
machine. 67 people, when I say in our company, majority of them are 4 people at each of the assets. So 12
Interesting.
assets times 4, that's 48 right there. So
Wow.
now we are
Mhm.
left with accounting department, 4 people, about three
Mhm.
and a half, 3 full-time, one half, and
Mhm.
then asset manager and others, then my wife, myself, and my daughter. And then we have virtual assistants for graphic artists, for web designing, for social media. All those flyers, everything is designed in Philippines for
I
us.
see. I
And we
see.
have just crushed it. I mean, we got so many great flyers we have developed over the years that
Mhm.
we use them over and over and over again
Mhm.
with new properties and whole systems. And then posters, we use Vistaprint, we use Amazon. I mean, it's just clockwork. Once we set, like for example, I mean, a lot of people think we need big bookkeeping and things like that to give out checks out to the investors or
Sure.
mailing
Mhm.
the checks. We have not mailed a single check in the last 12 years. All we do is
It's
we
all
just go to
electronic.
Wells Fargo, we put the vendors or the investors all keyed in. Then my wife just goes, only she and I know who our investors are. And then we just put the numbers calculated, and there Wells Fargo prints the checks. They
Yep.
go out.
Mhm.
clockwork, and we have a whole history of everything.
I see.
Yeah.
And how many investors do you have, by the way, Vinny?
130. I have
130.
130 investors now, and majority of them have come through word of mouth. I want to say
Sure.
that I never had website for almost 7 years. I just started doing website a couple of years back, and then I have only met with 28 of them, belly to belly. Just 28 belly to belly. Majority of them came through referral. Oh, my colleague or my uncle, my this, my dad, referred like that. And I think the other thing was that I just started with higher expectations, and I've been doing transparent operation, totally transparent. Our investors can ask for invoices, ledgers, bank statement, no holds bar, everything.
Absolutely.
At their fingertips. They can walk to the property, they can call the property, they can shop the property. We have no holds bar. Then I do recordings like this one, recorded machines. For last 12 years, I've been doing it on GoToMeetings, Zoom meetings, and then we send the links live. I invite the investors come in. We do the whole PowerPoint presentation, which I design every quarter on the quarter, and then we just send them the checks and all that. And then every time when I do that, when I travel, I bring new pictures of the asset, put them in the PowerPoints also, and then sell the next deal, because all the investors are going to go through the whole PowerPoint, through the whole recording. So I will always put my marketing piece for the next offering right at the end. That's how I used to do.
That's a good point. So you're planning for the next deal pretty much simultaneously.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And how are you managing the K1s? Do you
K1s are very easy for us. We have 2 CPAs that we outside, not in-house.
Sure.
But my accounting VP of finance also is almost a CPA. So she is very, very shrewd. We hire some extra help for the 1099s. Thousands of 1099s go out, and then K1s are all done very nicely through our 2 CPAs, and they are double checked by, our VP of finance. Then my daughter took over, thank God. She extracts the K1s out, password protects them. Then we use a service, very good service. It's called updatecapital.com. Updatecapital.com is for the investors portal, where we have each and every investor's, what properties they are in, how much they have cash flowed and everything. We upload them into their portal. K1s also get over there. P&Ls get also up there. They can just come in with their own login and they can get everything. When the dashboard opens, it tells them 700,000 you've invested with Vinnie. These are the assets. This is what you invested here. This is how much you got paid, right to the last quarter. Yeah, that's right.
Very nice, very nice. And the scale of deals that you're doing now, Vinnie, when I started, for example, like obviously my predominant portfolio, we invested a lot of funds, like pretty much all of it ourselves. And, the entire cash flow would funnel right back into businesses. Like we pretty much have the entire portfolio renovated here in Maryland and things like that. So at the scale of the portfolio that you have, do you find yourself like reinvesting the money into your deals, or is it more of that you're doing true syndications and maybe investing lesser of your funds typically?
Good point. Very good point.
How you structure these?
Actually now, since we started making more money, we opened up Wyoming LLCs for our own family. With our, and then we are coming as Class A members also, along with managing on the B side and getting a big portion of the B side. But before that, when we didn't have much money, we didn't really come on the Class A side. I wish we were. We just sold a deal, 40% IRR for 6 years and 3 months.
Wow.
So my investors got $240,000 by investing only $100,000 with us.
So 2.4x multiple.
I wish we had money at that time to put that. We made money, but not as much as investors did, which is good.
Right,
but
right.
You're right.
It's the evaluation process, I guess.
Yeah. See, most of the deals, because of my background and everything, we could put 200, 300,000 on the GP side, general
Sure.
partner side, because the lenders don't give it. Before I used to pay very little into it,
I see.
But then we are double dipping now. We are putting from this side and this side also.
I see. So you are obviously on the GP side, but still you invest, I guess, on the
On the
Class
LP
B side,
side.
on the LP side as well.
LP side with the children, our 2 kids, Neil and Monica, and now my wife and I, we invest there. But I do have to keep a lot of liquidity, because as a
Sure.
syndicator, you need like $35 million loan. 26 or $7 million loan. I have to have 2 million cash kind of thing,
Sure.
for the payments and this and that and all liquidity. But the thing is, that's why, it's so important that, and not only that, sometime some asset needs some extra infusion. We never have done a cash call. We actually give the money to the LLC from our own personal companies, and then we take it back upon sale or deferred and things like that.
I see. So now at the scale you are at, Vinnie, now, like, what are your challenges? I know a lot of, I think, property level things or asset level things are probably taken care of by property managers and things like that.
No, not really. No, they're
Okay, so you
not.
still find yourself picking up the phone calls and
I would like to say that, because I think I'm spending less time in acquisition, raising money, acquisitions, and finding. I think the deal finding was kind of difficult last year, to be truthful. You probably saw that too. Everybody
Yeah.
listening to me
Yes.
probably knows that. Now it's kind of eased up a little bit, which I like it. I'm going to buy 2 or 3 great assets. I am raising 50 million. And so we'll buy about 150 200 million more this year or next year. But then the management side takes a lot of time. It's amazing.
Okay.
To make sure that the cash flows come month after month after month. It's so important that we cut down the expenses. We are looking at where the delinquencies are, where the concessions are, if there are any, or what's the leasing percentage, what's the 90-day notice to vacate. All those statistics are very, very important,
Right.
so that we could lease them. Marketing strategies, big strategies, some out of the box strategies. So we really have very, very good discussions with our teams, and we try to help them. We have to, because otherwise, the asset can go down pretty quickly. And that's what I find with the big, larger companies. They cannot take that kind of time and energy to manage the asset, and I have always felt that it's best to own your own management company.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree that you can probably sub out a lot of tasks, but I think you always have to have good sort of staff around you, and
Sure.
work through that way.
Surely.
Thank you. And just a couple of few questions.
Yes.
We're just wrapping up here, Vinnie.
Yeah.
What, like, over the years that you have, what are the great books or advices that you have received over time that you wish you knew, maybe 10, 15 years ago?
I've been a product of, I think very optimistically. I'm a very optimistic person. I smile a lot, positive attitude.
Sure.
I hit things head on. I think Jim Rohn, my mentors have been Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, of course, Tony Robbins is, right now also, Robert Kiyosaki, Tom Hopkins, Charlie Tremendous Jones, Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, How to Control Your Time, Control Your Life, Stephen Covey, I cannot miss him. All these people, I have always felt like I probably haven't read 1,000 books I had. I've always felt that I don't want to read from start to the finish. I want to just get 3 ideas from that book.
Sure.
Then I've read it. I just want to implement those ideas.
Sure.
That is so important in life, that we just don't become a junkie of getting so much. Some people show
not
me.
Apply anything, correct? Yes.
Yeah, they have goal
Absolutely.
setting like 10 pages long. Don't worry about it. Give me your goals in half a page. Just half a page, and look at it every day, and put it on the mirror, and put it in the car and everything, and give yourself feedback. That's so important, rather than going to these seminars. I hate, because most of the seminars, people tell me only 1 to 2% people get anything out of it.
Sure.
thousands of dollars
Right.
of money,
Right.
but it's good over there. Yeah, it's very good. But when
Yes.
you come back, you are doing the same old, same old, same old. That's insanity. Doing the same old thing, but expecting different results.
Correct.
So I
Correct.
believe in action. I believe in massive action, changing your state of mind, and just, thinking more positively and looking for win-win situation, adding value to everybody around you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that, Vinnie. I think it's a pleasure that you shared all those insights. And just tell us how viewers can get hold of you.
Oh, sure. I'm all over the place now. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I don't do nothing. It's all my team people in Philippines, blog writing, lots of things, my ideas, my things. But, VinnieChopra.com is my website, VINNEY with the E in there, VinnieChopra.com. Or if anybody wants to learn syndication or partner with me like that, they could just text the word learn, learn to 474747. So
Awesome.
that's the texting service that I use. And then the other one is if they want to partner or they have a deal and they would like to underwrite with me and maybe become a general partner, it's
Sure.
an off-market deal. I would love to work with them. Or if they have investors, I bring them as my general partners also with equity and acquisition share and everything like that.
Right.
And that's to text the word syndication.
Mm-hmm.
Text the word syndication to 474747.
Awesome. Thank you, Vinnie. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you
And
so
it's been a
much.
pleasure.
You're doing such a great job. And thank you. And, Premium Cash Flow Podcast, I love it. Premium Cash Flow. That's what, the biggest thing I would like to say, my motto right now is to educate a lot of people, but also help a lot of my investors to
Sure.
live a great life. And if we have that attitude that we want their money to go farther, we want them to earn that 8, 10, 12, 15, 18%, then they will have great retirements,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a big proponent of that. I think, lived through it and I think came on the other side. And obviously, through, I think, education and, multifamily investing,
Totally.
I think that's the way to move forward,
Totally.
So I appreciate your time, Vinnie.
Oh, thank
It's been a
you.
great pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Premium Cashflow Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please join us at premiumcashflow.com to sign up for weekly updates, research articles, and more. We will see you again for another great interview with an expert guest.